Hi everyone, I just thought I'd take the opportunity to make a quick video to demonstrate the lofting tool that exists in Rhino. So the example that we've been having a look at is the Lofting Highlighter pen. So I'll kind of crack on and do a little bit of a demonstration as to how you may possibly go about building something like that. So what I've really done here is I've created a whole range of cross-sectional curves, if you like, that are going to form the skeletal kind of structure. And think of it like that. Essentially, it's a skeleton, right? It's a structure that underpins the actual form itself. So I've got a whole range of cross-sectional curves, and I've also created those curves according to the layers or the number of parts that exist. So I've kind of got this black layer here, which is really going to represent the body of the highlighter. Then I'm going to use the red layer to kind of represent the nozzle, the pen nozzle, if that's what we want to call it. And then I'll kind of create the pen tip, and later on I could create the lid. So if I look in my perspective view, that's what it looks like. If I look in my top view, you can kind of see that's kind of what it looks like for me. I'm not doing anything to scale here. I haven't taken any measurements. I'm just kind of working proportionally, if you like. And of course, that's what it looks like in the front and in the right view. So I've done my curves. I use the rounded rectangle, various sizes, push them forward and back and all of that sort of stuff. So I'm kind of doing this just to kind of get to the point where I might start lofting. So let's have a little look. So I want to make the body. So I'm going to switch back to my body layer. And I'm going to do a straight loft between this curve and this curve. So I'm just going to select both of those two together. I'll just hit loft or type in loft. Both of those seams are going in the same direction there, which is wonderful. We'll just hit enter. And the option that I'm going to choose here is I'm going to just do a straight section, and I'm going to hit OK. All right. Now, what we can do here is we can do another loft. So I'm going to select that curve and this curve here, and I'll loft that as well. Let's do that again, and I've got straight sections there. No problem. At this point in time, I might take the opportunity to actually join those two surfaces together. Everything's hollow at this time. I'll join it together with the join puzzle piece. And then what I'd like to do here is just perform a cap. So I want to actually close the back side, which is there, and also that face here. So we'll just type in, we'll select it, we'll type CAP. There we go, we've capped that. All right, so now we're going to work on these guys. We're going to work on the pen nozzle. So let's switch layers to our pen nozzle. All right, so I'm gonna go from there to there, and we're just going to do that as a straight section loft. So we'll go surface loft. Yes, those seams are going the right way, and straight sections. Okie dokie, no problem there. All right, so now from this part on, we're going to basically loft from here to here to here. It's going to transition into there, and then it's going to transition into there. So let's see what effect we can get. Let's type in loft. Let's select that curve, that curve, that curve, that curve, and that curve. Okay, we'll hit enter. Now, one thing you might pay attention to when you're lofting here is basically where the seam, where these guys are kind of originating from. And what I'd like to do with these is I'd like to move that more or less to the middle. I'm just going to click there. I'm going to grab this guy and move him pretty much to the middle there. We might be able to look in our other viewports, our top viewports. Yes, see that? Look at our top viewport. So I'm gonna go pull that one back, roughly to there. Move this one to there. Move this one to there. Now, what's interesting is this arrow is pointing in that direction, which would be a problem because all these arrows need to be pointing in the right direction. To flip an arrow, you just click on it and it flips it, right? So I can flip it, flip it, flip it. I might just tighten that up a little bit. You don't need to be perfect with these, just kind of get them so that they're pointing in the right direction and kind of right through the center there. All right, and that will mean that the surface just nicely kind of follows and flows in that direction. All right, so we've done that. Let's hit enter. Okay, so what have we got? Straight sections. Let's have a little look at that. Straight sections is probably not what I'm up for. What about normal? Let's do a preview. No, definitely not. Too much kind of squeeze going in here. What about loose? Preview that. Well, hey, look at that. That's not bad, is it? You know, that's quite neat, quite uniform. We've got a nice transition there. So loose looked good. What about tight? No. So the best one that we kind of had there was that loose one, wasn't it? So we'll go back to preview and we'll click on OK. All right, happy days. So it's kind of it's worked its way through those transitional kind of areas the best that it could, if you like. All right, so we might cap this. Let's just go cap, boom. All right, probably not going to need some of these curves anymore. Right, so I've got this thing going on. Let's go and make a pen tip. So we'll just switch to pen tip. And I'm going to do this in my front view. And I'm actually going to offset that curve. Offset. And I'm going to offset it by about 0.5 millimeter. There it is. You're probably wondering where it is. Can you see it's actually inside there? So holding my shift key down. In fact, I'm going to leave it there for the time being. Let's just make it a surface. Surface planar curves. Boom. All right, I can delete the original curve. Now I want to select that surface. Now, the reason I've decided to leave this here is because the pen tip probably actually does live inside there. We'll extrude that through straight, and we'll just pull that out a little way, like so. I can delete the original. Okay, and now I've kind of got this guy going on. Now, we all know that highlighters tend to have that chiseled kind of tip. So what I'll do here is I'll just chop off some of this. And we can just use a Boolean difference. Let me just draw a shape. I'm just going to kind of, you know what? Let's make it a bit more severe. Let's make a kind of a shape that kind of looks like this. I'm not worried about the fact that it kind of goes around like this. I'm just worried about the part that it cuts through. Maybe sort of like that. We'll make it a surface, planar curves, and we'll delete the original surface. All I've got to do now is extrude that surface, and I'll extrude it both sides. There you go, both sides here. If you're on a Mac, it probably says both sides on the left-hand side. And I'm just going to pull that up. I'm looking in my right viewport here. Delete the original surface, and now we can perform a Boolean difference here. So, Boolean difference. There it is. We're going to keep this object. We'll press enter to continue, and we'll subtract that object away. So, you know, there's a very kind of basic kind of tip. Now, probably time to build a bit of a cap. Now, if we were building a cap, I might use this curve here. And what might I do? I might do another offset. In fact, do I have a curve up the back there? Yeah, look at that curve there. Well, I don't need that anymore. Let's maybe bring this curve up this neck of the woods. It's just got to go kind of past there. And can I take this guy? Yeah, this will work. Okay, so switch layers, pen lid. Here I am. So I basically use this curve here and this curve here. So if I just select those, you can actually see the one that's at the front, which is this one, is slightly smaller. So it was that offset one from the back. So I am going to perform a loft between these guys. So I'll do a loft. Sorry, type that again. Loft. Select that curve there and this curve here. Hit enter. Just checking out those seams. Yeah, they're pretty good. Pretty good. And again, you know, I could move that, you know, if I wanted it to be more, you know, kind of in the middle. That's fine. You know, as long as they're kind of going in the right direction. Just flip to those. And I'm going to hit enter. Wonderful. Okay, that looks pretty nice. Let's just do it a straight section though. Okay, I've got that there. Now we can see that this guy is, that's not realistic, is it? So we need to cap this. CAP. Okay. What have we got there? Okay, something that looks like that. And I'm not too worried about the proportions, girls, as I said, because I'm not working from dimensions. It's just more the skill involved here. Let's pull this off here. I'm just holding the shift key down, right? Let's have a look. We can probably get rid of some of our geometry. Okay, that's a piece of geometry that I can get rid of. Just check this out. Like, that's not going to work on there, is it? That's looking like a solid object. Well, here's a command that we can use. It's called shell. So I've selected the object. I'm typing in shell. I hit enter. It asks for the face to shell. So I want to hollow this out from this face. And the thickness is going to be 1 millimeter. So I'm going to click on that face. I'm going to hit enter. Hey, look at that. That's not bad, is it? Perfect. All right. So hopefully now I've got a lid. I've got a pen. Not to be confused with a pineapple pen. And that should go to there. Now, in reality, you could see, just zooming in here, that in reality wouldn't work because this piece of plastic is intersecting with the body of the lid. So I'd need to adjust. I will adjust it. Let's do it. Let's go back to before I capped it. So I'm going to shell this object from this face, and the thickness this time, I'm actually going to make it 0.7 of a millimeter. From there, enter. Lovely. Okay, so that distance there is 0.7, whereas before it was 1. So now I should be able to, let's have a look, right view, bring this back over here, and hopefully we don't have, where should you be? That's where it would be. Yeah, see that little gap? Just there. So we've got nothing is clashing, which is, real world. That's how it should be. So there we have it. Bit of a lofting exercise, how I might go about creating something. We've done it relatively quick. Created a lid, some transitional kind of curves to create that funky looking surface going on there. Bit of a Boolean difference, and also some capping. So if you haven't had a go at actually building that successfully, you might want to follow that tutorial and just work your way through it. Okay, girls, I'll see you in the next video.